Show me the way to go home, boom, boom. I'm
I'm
tired
tired
and I
and I
wanna
want to
go to
go to
bed.
bed.
Had a
I
little
had
drink
a drink
about an
about an
hour
hour
ago,
ago
and it's
and
gone
it's gone
straight
straight
to my
to my
head.
head.
Hello and welcome to the Superpower Dare Die team. I'm Peter.
And I'm Rick, and today we're reviewing the 1975 film. Sorry, Jaws. Big shout out to Michaela who suggested this as a film review, and anyone can do that as well. You get a shout out. You can do that on our Facebook page or in the comments section on YouTube.
That'd be great. Thanks, Michaela. It was a good suggestion. It's a movie we both really do enjoy too.
So, doing something a little bit different today, Pete. I saw this movie numerous times I wouldn't say as a kid because I wasn't allowed to watch it. So, I've seen it a lot of times in my life, and so I haven't watched it again. I'm doing this review based on memory. I believe you had a look at it.
Yeah, well, I watched it a lot as a kid too.
Mm.
And I probably haven't seen it that much as an adult, so I thought I'd have a look. And in a way, I'm sort of glad because some of the things there was scenes and things that are just embedded in my brain that were just like, wow, I remember. And then there's a couple of little things that I remember a bit differently. So that was an interesting experience watching it again. But yeah, this was on rotation at my house. I think we must have had a copy of it on beta somewhere, and we watched it a lot. And I remember my brother and some of his friends over, and me reenacting the final sequence of the boat going down in the lounge room. I was probably a bit younger than you. This was made in 1975, as you said. That's the year I was born, so I was probably a bit younger than you when I saw it.
Yeah, I was born in 1953. My experience with Jaws is a little different because like I said, I wasn't allowed to watch it as a kid. I had pretty strict parents, and so I actually saw Jaws 2 first, and I saw that on a little black and white TV with some of my cousins when we snuck into another room while the parents were getting drunk, and we watched Jaws 2. At that time, we were staying at our shack down at Port Broughton, and I'd heard all the taglines for Jaws before. You never feel safe in the water, or something like that.
I think the tagline for Jaws 2 is more famous than anything that happens in the movie. Like, it was just when you thought it was safe to go back.
Safe to go back, yeah. But I watched that movie and we loved it as a kid. We loved it.
Selective as a kid, aren't you?
Yeah, and then but the next day we went down to the beach because our shack was kind of right on the beach. And we went down to the beach for a swim, and I wouldn't go in the water.
Yeah.
I was like, it scarred me for life, and I still worry about it to this day. But I can see how Jaws 2, which we're not reviewing, is not the better movie. The first one, and we'll say it now, it's a classic.
It's a great movie. Yeah. When I was a kid, like I said, we watched it a lot, and there's just moments in it that just stick out in your brain, like the tiger shark getting caught and cut open, and the number plates in there with 007 written on it. Apparently, Steven Spielberg wanted to make a James Bond movie. That's where Indiana Jones came from. He couldn't make a James Bond movie, so him and George Lucas came up with Indiana Jones. So I think the number plate was a bit of a nod to that.
That's an interesting thing. I think a Steven Spielberg Bond movie would have been crap, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. Another scene that I really remember is the shark attacking the boy on the air mattress.
Yeah.
And it sort of looks a bit goofy, but it still looks all right. But it sort of looks a funny shape. But I was watching it and I was thinking Steven Spielberg would never kill a kid now in a movie. Like, it just wouldn't happen.
No.
But he didn't. No. As a young filmmaker, he didn't seem that fussed. Kills a dog and then kills the kid like moments later.
So some of the scenes in this are truly terrifying, and I think it works better because of their limitations of what they could actually do with their technology back then. And
they had a lot of problems with the shark, apparently.
Name's Bruce.
But sometimes less is more.
Oh, it is.
Like,
it's much better.
Yeah, and particularly in this movie where you sometimes just need to see a shadow, or you just need to hear a bit of this. It was like a perfect combination.
And the shots of the legs in the water, like
in the water,
paddling in the water, like your imagination is a lot more of a special effect than than special effects sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. So many movies when the actual monster is revealed or whatever, and your brain kind of says, is that all? Like, I can deal with that now I've seen it. But when it's unknown and unseen, it's way more terrifying.
I noticed that the wife calls Roy Scheider's character Chief. Like, it's her husband, but she calls him Chief this time. I thought that was funny. And his book that he looks through with all the sharks, I remember that vividly, him looking through the books, and he's got the foreshadowing of the shark with a tank in its mouth. So that pays off later.
Yeah, so little things like that. I love the part towards the end when Lorraine and Michael Caine are on the boat and turning around, sort of.
I think that might be a different movie.
Oh, maybe I'm getting confused.
There's a part where Hooper, Richard Dreyfuss's character, gets his scuba gear on and searches that boat, and there's a big hole in the bow. The head just pops out at you.
Yeah.
So I remember being really, that was a big jump scare when I was a kid.
There's a few jump scares. There's a lot of tension in this movie, but it's really built around
Roy Scheider, Robert Shaw, Richard Dreyfuss.
It really is about the connection, I guess, between
it is.
Dreyfuss's character.
Is it would you say it's probably the second half of the movie? It's just the three of them on the boat.
And yes, and that's where the movie works well.
It's awesome.
It's set up in those two halves, isn't it? So that's the whole setup, and then let's go out on the boat, which from memory, a great little scene as the boat's taking off, and the camera pans back, and you're looking through the mouth of the jaws of the shark. So like nice little touches like that.
They're all very different characters with strong personalities. I noticed that Quint. I always knew that Quint wasn't very nice to Hooper, but I don't think I picked up how nice he was to Chief. Like he's really nice to Chief. He's like, oh, it's all right, Chief. You can do it this way, and he's teaching him how to do knots and things. But Hooper, it's like because he's the big flash guy from out of town, he just doesn't want anything.
I think there's a lot of kind of thinly veiled disgust for the guy that. With the technology, I guess, who's trying to see Quint's kind of a seaman who's old school. Yes, Quint's your old school who does everything. I look at the clouds, I can tell that the weather's happening this way, whereas Dreyfuss or Hooper is more relying on. He's knowledgeable and he uses that to make. He never uses it to make Quint feel small, but Quint maybe feels threatened, or just doesn't like it because he's.
When I was a kid, Hooper would have been my favourite character. He was, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but he was a character I liked the most. And watching it just recently, I thought, he's actually a bit of a jerk, like the character. He's a bit pretentious. He's out of town. He's sort of, whether he's saying things or not, he sort of seems like he's looking down on these country folk type.
Yeah, maybe.
It's really sort of struck me this time that his character is a bit of a jerk. I didn't like him as much. But I think I liked Quint and Chief Brody more. But
he was kind of the fish out. He was kind of the fish out of water.
Well, he hated water, and
there's that great scene at early on in the film where they've got the town meeting, and he stops it by just doing that famous sound of fingernails down the chalkboard. Ugh.
They had a similar scene in Who Framed Roger Rabbit when Christopher Lloyd as Judge Doom writes on the chalkboard with the screeches. I wonder if that was a homage. So Jaws was based off a novel by author Peter Benchley, and he has a cameo in the movie as a reporter earlier in the movie on the beach. Yeah, he did a pretty good job, really, for a non-actor.
Stephen King, he can nail his cameos in all of his movies. A scene that sticks out for me is that I think it's before Brody goes out on the boat. Might be the night before. So he's sitting down with his son at the table, and his son sort of mimic him.
Yeah.
So like little touching moments like that versus the terror of the opening scene of the and classic scenes like Brody throwing the stuff out the back of the boat, and he gets the first full glimpse of the shark, and I just remember that he's there, shark comes up and grabs it. He just sort of stands up straight and without taking his eyes off the back of the boat, backs up to the front, just says to Quint,
"You're going to need a bigger boat."
It's a classic line. And I just, watching it, I was entertained the whole time. It's three guys on a boat, but it's entertaining. It's quite gripping. And I was thinking these days, we're watching CGI stuff flying around every second, quick cuts, crazy things happening just to keep us entertained. But this is, they don't make them like this anymore,
They really don't.
And they should probably, because it's still an entertaining movie.
But it was about the character development and not about the special effects. And I find a lot of movies these days where they have to get the CGI stuff in, that's the part that bores me in the movie.
I think they rely on the special effects now to, make a spectacle. Whereas Jaws, because the animatronic shark didn't work very well.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain.
They couldn't rely on their special effects, so they had to, make a compelling movie just by little snapshots or little glimpses of the creatures. So,
but they build up suspense really well, but they keep us involved by the characters that we can relate to.
Yeah.
So maybe you can see yourself in each of the characters, or there's one you relate to more. But they're interesting characters. They keep you invested in the movie because you care about it.
There's some underwater shark photography. So there's sometimes you see the animatronic shark, and sometimes you see real sharks, and that's filmed by two. I think the Rob Taylor's Australian. I'm not sure about his wife, but I think it's two Australian.
I think it was done in
photographers.
Port Lincoln. I think some of those shots are from Port Lincoln. I could be wrong, but
I think he was a shark attack victim as well. I thought it was funny with Quint when they first got on the boat with Quint. He's just randomly mumbling and singing little bits of songs and saying little poems and things. He seems just a little bit unhinged.
Here's to swimming with bow-legged women.
Well, he was unhinged, didn't he? Smash the radio.
Yeah, he smashes the radio and. Hooper seems okay with that. Brody's pretty upset, but he's.
But they're both of those are out together. Both of those are out to get the shark. They're both there. Their aim, and Brody's more about
getting them home.
Get home, and getting home alive. Whereas those two are I want this shark at all costs. So smash the radio so you can.
One thing I did think this time is, we've got Hooper. He's in the cage, and the shark attacks him, and then he gets out, and then he's sort of gone for the rest of the movie until he pops up at the end. I thought it was a fairly long time for him to be gone. I thought, well, where's Hooper? And then I read that
I think he can hold his breath a long time.
Because he's got the scuba stuff, but you'd think he'd try and come up to help the others.
He was out of there.
Because when he comes up, he says Quint, and they're like, no. But I was reading that because in the book, Hooper's character is a bit more of a jerk and sleeps with Chief Brody's wife, and he gets killed. This is from memory. I think that's what happens. He actually dies in it, and I think he was going to die in the movie, but they had footage of someone swimming out of a cage near a shark, so they used that. So they kept his character alive.
Oh, really?
The other thing that was different when I watched it this time is I always thought it was fire, you son of a... when he's aiming the gun at the air tank. But I had the subtitles on and it said smile, you son of a...
Oh. I thought it was die.
I always thought it was fire. I thought he was talking to the rifle. Fire, you son of a... But in the subtitles it says smile. So what did you think it was? Die?
I don't know, but I can't remember because it's too long. I wish I'd watched it again.
I really remember that part, though. I think that's what we acted out in the lounge room.
So I think I know the answer to this, Pete, but would you recommend Jaws as a watch for anyone?
Yes, I would. And I think that anyone would enjoy it. I think that young people would still enjoy it today. It's a well-constructed, well-edited, exciting, fun movie. Yeah,
and I think the same. It's just a really well-made movie. It's just one of those lightning in a bottle ones. They tried again 3 times and couldn't do it.
And I think it was the first blockbuster, real
Yes,
Big
I think it was.
blockbuster movie, and it
And
spawned
I think
lots of like knockoffs, like Alligator, Piranha. In fact, they tried to reboot the Piranha movies a few years ago.
yeah, it really did spawn the summer blockbuster. That was kind of the
Yeah.
beginning of if you're going to release a big movie, you would do it around that sort of time.
Yeah.
I love the movie. I love the
Soundtrack.
yes, I do like it.
It's a very good soundtrack. It's an iconic soundtrack, isn't it?
Well, I think every time you can't think of Jaws without thinking of that little two-note motif thing. So it had everything going for it. The music suited it. The actors were good. Yeah. So thanks, Mikhail. I enjoyed going down memory lane.
Thank you for watching our Jaws review. If you enjoy our videos, please like and subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook.
Yep. Thanks for watching, everyone, and thanks for your support.
Thank you. See ya.